My name is Mateo. I am 91 years old, and today I want to tell you something I never told anyone, not my wife, not my children, not my closest friend. I am telling you now because I am running out of time, and you are not. It is quiet in this house today. It is always quiet now. My wife Rosa used to make noise everywhere she went, humming in the kitchen, laughing at the TV, calling my name from the other room just to see if I was listening. She passed away 3 years ago. Now the only sound in this house is me and the clock on the wall. I grew up with nothing, not poor like you read about in books. Poor like we ate the same thing every night. Poor like shoes with holes in the bottom. Poor. My father worked with his hands every single day of his life. He never complained once, but he never talked either. Not about money, not about feelings, not about any of it. You just worked. You kept quiet and you kept going. That was the only lesson I ever got, and I carried it with me for 91 years. I met Rosa when I was 25. She was 23. She had this laugh. Loud, real, the kind that filled a room and embarrassed her a little. I fell in love with that laugh before I fell in love with her. We got married in a small church, 40 people, folding chairs. Somebody's cousin played guitar. It was the best day of my life. And standing outside that church after, I made a promise not to Rosa, to myself. I said she will never go without, not one day. I meant it with everything I had, so I worked, first delivering goods, then in sales. Then I started my own small business. It grew slowly, the way real things grow. By the time I was 35, we had a house, a car, food on the table every night, and 2 kids, Marco and little Sophia. When I looked at those 2 faces, I felt that promise get heavier. Provide for them. That was the only thought. Every morning I woke up with one word in my head: provide. It sounds like love when I say it, and it was love. I want you to understand that. Everything I did because I loved them. But here is the thing nobody told me. Love and being there are not the same thing. I thought they were. I was wrong. Marco was 6 when he learned to ride his bike. I was not there. I was 3 cities away closing a deal. Rosa taught him. She held the back of the seat. She ran down the sidewalk. She let go at the right moment. And Marco rode on his own for the very first time. Without me watching, she called me that night. She told me everything. I said, put him on the phone. Marco got on. I said, buddy, I heard you rode your bike today. He said, yeah. Just that one word, yeah. And then he gave the phone back to his mother. He was 6 years old. He did not know how to say what he felt. But I know now what that word meant. I have had a long time to think about it. It meant, where were you, Dad? I told myself I would make it up to him. That weekend, that holiday, that summer, always later, always soon, children bounce back. That is what people told me, and maybe they do. But they also remember. Nobody told me that part. They bounce back and they remember. Both things at the same time, living inside them, side by side. For the rest of their lives, Sophia was quieter than Marco. She watched everything. Even as a little girl, she had these eyes that missed nothing. Rosa used to say that one sees more than she lets on. She was right. Sophia was 14 when she said something at dinner that stopped the whole table. She looked up at me and said, Papa, why do you always look happy when you have to leave? Nobody moved. Rosa looked at her plate. Marco looked out the window. And I said, I don't look happy, Mija. I'm going to work. For this family. She nodded slowly and went back to eating. But that question never left me. It stayed inside me like a small stone, because the true answer was this. Work made sense to me. I knew the rules at work. I knew how to win at work. At home, the feelings were harder. The silences were louder. And nobody had ever taught me how to just sit there and stay. So I kept leaving, not always with my body. Sometimes I left while sitting right there at the table. Money got better when I was in my 40s. The business was doing well. I bought Rosa a bigger house. We took the kids to the beach one summer. Marco was 16 by then. He spent most of the trip looking at the ground. I was frustrated with him. I thought he was being ungrateful. Now I understand. He had already learned by then that I would leave again soon. So he stopped fully showing up when I arrived. It was how he protected himself. 16-year-olds do not have words for that, but they feel it deep in their chest, and they act like it. Rosa never complained, not once. She just quietly held everything together. The birthdays I missed, the school plays I skipped, the nights the kids were sick and I was somewhere else. She handled all of it. And she did it without making me feel guilty. That was her way. But there was one night, one ordinary Tuesday night, the kids were asleep. We were in the kitchen, and Rosa said something to me, very quietly, almost like she was talking to herself. She said, "Mateo, the kids don't need a bigger house. They need to know where you are." That was it. No fight, no tears. She just said it and went to bed. I lay awake that night for a long time. And then morning came, and I went back to work. That moment is the one I return to most, not because it was the worst night. It wasn't. It is because Rosa gave me a door that night, a real one, and I walked past it. I chose the familiar thing, the thing I was good at, the thing that felt safe. Years passed. Marco grew up. He moved far away. He built his own life. We talked on the phone sometimes, short calls. "How are you?" "Fine." "Good." "Okay, talk soon." Sophia stayed closer. But there was always something between us. Not anger exactly. More like glass. We could see each other, but we could not quite reach. And then Rosa got sick. She was 79. It moved fast, faster than any of us expected. And suddenly I was home every single day. Nowhere to go, no deal to close, no reason to leave. Just us in that quiet house. And something strange happened in those last months with Rosa. We talked more than we had in 40 years of marriage. Real talk, late at night. Lights low. She told me things she had kept inside for decades. I told her things I had never said out loud before. And I kept thinking, why did we wait so long for this? What were we so busy doing? She passed on a Thursday morning. I was holding her hand. The room was very still. And in that stillness, I felt the full weight of everything. Not the good things I had done, the ones I had skipped. Marco, called me that evening. He flew in the next day, and we sat together in the kitchen, just the two of us, for the first time in I don't know how many years. And he cried, and I cried. And somewhere in the middle of all that crying, he said, "I just wish I had known you better, Pop. I just wish I had known you better." That sentence right there, that is my regret, not the money I made, not the money I spent, not any financial decision I ever made in my life. My regret is that my own son, at 50-something years old, sitting in his father's kitchen, felt like he did not fully know me. And he was right, because I had never fully let him. I thought providing was the same as being present. I thought a good house meant a close family. I thought if the bills were paid and the fridge was full, I had done my job. I had done a job, but not the one that mattered most. I am 91 now. My knees hurt. I sleep too much. Some mornings it takes me a while to remember what day it is, but I remember that kitchen. I remember Marco's face. I remember Rosa in the dark saying, "They need to know where you are." I remember all of it perfectly. Mirror is funny that way. It keeps the things you most need to sit with. I am not telling you this to make you feel bad. I am telling you this because you are younger than me, maybe much younger. And you still have the thing I no longer have. Time. The money will come and go. It always does. But the Tuesday night dinners, they do not come back. The bike riding moments, they do not come back. The late night kitchen talks. You have to choose those. Nobody gives them to you. You have to put down the other thing and choose them. I chose too late. You do not have to. That is all I wanted to say. I am just an old man in a quiet house, telling the truth a little too late for himself, but maybe just in time for you. If something I said today stayed with you, maybe a memory came up, maybe a face came to mind. Maybe you thought of someone you have been meaning to call. Do not wait for a quiet house to remind you. Leave a comment below if you want. Just one word is enough. I read every single one. And if this story felt true to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, not to teach them anything, just so they know they are not alone. Take care of the people still in the room with you. That is all.